Hello, Daniel the naturopath. I want to talk to you about libido. Libido can be greatly improved by understanding the blood. I've already spoken in another video about magnesium, transdermal magnesium, and how it helps heal the blood through using it yearly and monthly and bringing it into the system. It's also helping detoxify a lot of heavy metals, acid residues, and these things are also helping to heal the blood. Um, so the deficiencies is the number one thing to cover. Magnesium being the number one, and maybe the vitamin D being the number two. Um, these two items, once they're brought into optimum levels in the body, um, vitamin D can be found through herring, cod liver oil, foie gras, seafood, especially the inside of the crab, the little white kind of buttery tissue, not tissue, but buttery kind of substance that comes through the crab shell, not just the legs that we eat or whatever. We have to go for the whole crab if we can find it, buy it from the market or whatever. And, lobster inside the head, if you don't like it, just pull it out with a spoon and mix it with mayo. Just go for it. You'll feel the difference, trust me. And so that's one of the most powerful. I mean, if you want an instant libido rush, hit the inside of the lobster, you got to go to buy the whole lobster, cook it, and then take whatever's on the inside of the head and eat it direct or with mayo or something else, non-soy mayo. Um, Foie gras as well, if you can find it at the butcher shop or order online. This is a powerful one. Feed a little bit to your dog. You'll see he explodes. He'll start trying to hump everything in the neighborhood. Now, what I mean is that this stuff really is working, and so you can sense it yourself. The other thing that we have to do outside of deficiencies and superfoods, etc., is we got to be careful with the EMF waves. Now, EMF waves are coming through, and the most vulnerable part of the whole system between a woman and a man walking on this earth, the most vulnerable part of that whole system is the male testicle. It's hanging outside of the body, it's not protected, and it's being exposed to all these rays. So if there's any type of belief that you have, EMFs, it doesn't matter and all that stuff, well, suspend your disbelief just for EMF underwear, something like that, where you're able to put some boxers on that block the EMF signal, because it's interwoven with silver thread or another type of metallic thread, which keeps out, which sends the signal back, it reflects it back. And, a couple pairs of boxers of this nature on top of each other, that's it. You can push out 95%, and it's just that easy. And you will notice a difference over even up into the first week, you'll notice a difference. So this little thing, the understanding of the foods, the understanding of the deficiencies, these things have not been approached in a global way yet. People take all this testosterone, this, that, and the other, and you're trying to do whatever you can, but you're not fixing the fundament of the problem. So you need to focus on these elements. I would say that, maybe going and finding frozen lobster in a grocery store. Sometimes you can find it there, $10 a pop, 2 or 3 these a month. Inside the head, same sort of idea. Don't overcook it. Even if the inside of the head is a little bit cold and the rest is burning hot, when you steam this thing, that's fine. But you're trying to keep that vitamin alive, as alive as you can get. Or you can actually buy the whole lobster, which is more expensive. But anyway, that is one thing I would recommend. I would also recommend foie gras, ordering it seasonally if you can't afford it, or monthly if you can. And you can do it locally, or you can order from Canada or New York, Jewish shops, etc. In Miami, there's a lot of other places you can find it. So these things would be an instant quickness coming back into the system. Fish eggs as well. I usually go to Russian stores to buy fish eggs because they're half the price as they are, same fish egg as they are in organic hippie stores or whatever. So we have to learn to borrow soils from other nations. We can't trust our own soil. After the FDA has been running things for the last 100 years here, or at least 50, we can't trust our own soil anymore. We have to kind of, local is not better, you know. It can be for certain things, but in general, not yet. It will be in the future, but for now, the soil in America is is catastrophic compared to European soil or even Eastern European soils, etc. So I try to go to places like Russian stores where you can buy, cottage cheese that comes from Latvian soils, or these types of, you know, butters that come from the Alps, butters that come from German soils. Even the big, huge Irish butter craze in America, we wouldn't be able to live without it because it's the only soil we're getting that's being allowed from another culture. But, we haven't had any local meat in ages. It's been, monopolistic. We have no access to it here. I mean, unless not fresh meat, at least. So you have to do what you can to get around this. Lamb meat, for example, from New Zealand, that's another way you can get around the soil. Using, blood for blood sausages, things like this. Scandinavian black bread, things like this can be used. You can use the blood from Asian stores, which comes from the Philippines. There's a lot of things that people are like, what is this guy talking about, man? We're not going to do any of this stuff. Well, yeah, and you'll have the consequences when you turn 40 or 50 and you start realizing the nervous system and the immune system is not able to maintain what's happening to it. So we have to try our best to win back our traditions and win back some of these foodways. And the good thing is when you try it, you're going to see, wow, this is amazing. My brother, he didn't want to try any of this stuff when I started. He thought I was crazy. And then as soon as he tried the lobster head on the inside and mixed it with mayo for him, I did it for him, handed it to him. Or he tried the liver. He ate raw liver. I ground up some liver in a shake and put it like a Bloody Mary, without alcohol. And boom, he slammed it. And he said he had the best night at work. He didn't know what. He couldn't understand it. It was like he was so serene. And I just pointed back to the liver that he had that morning and he realized it. And then, because he's getting the blood back, basically. And this is what was, the blood and the soil, they're synonymous in a way. So he's getting that back. And he did the same. We did the same on the lobster. He thought it was probably gross or whatever and tried it. And then he called me back a week later and was like, dude, I've been strong, feeling strength for like a whole week or two. Like, what was in that, And so that's it. He's sold. So be sold. Don't be afraid. Change it up, And anyway, if that can be helpful, then let's just keep moving it forward. Thanks.